So, as you know, that in the five kingdom classification that was given by R.H. Whitaker, we divide the living world into five kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Okay, the fifth kingdom, that is Kingdom Animalia, is a kingdom which is exclusively for eukaryotic organisms, which are heterotrophic. They are depend upon others for their food. They store their food in the form of glycogen or fat. They're all multicellular organisms and none of them have a cell wall. Their mode of nutrition is holozoic. Holozoic का मतलब होता है they ingest solid food. And this kingdom Animalia gets divided into number of phylums. So as uh, you have already studied with us, what are the different phylums of kingdom Animalia and what are the criteria that we had used to classify this particular kingdom. So in all, there are 11 phylums, starting with Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthus, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Hemichordata and Chordata. ये 11 phylum है, and these phyla we have classified as kingdom Animalia is classified on the basis of with tissues, without tissues. Without tissues, we have porifera. With tissues, on the basis of symmetry, we have radial and bilateral symmetry. Radial symmetry includes only two phylums, that is Coelenterata and Ctenophora, whereas bilateral symmetry has got number of different phylums. So in order to classify them, we use the criteria of the coelom. Acoelomates are Platyhelminthes, pseudocoelomates are Aschelminthus, and eucoelomates include Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. तो यही जो 11 फाइलम है उनको हम लोग ने एक साथ यहाँ पे मेंशन किया हुआ है. And in order to classify this 11 phylum, we have used different criterias like the body level, body plan, germinal layers, the symmetry that they show, the notochord, okay, the openings, the coelom, segmentation, and their systems like the circulatory system. So, with respect to the level of organization, okay, so you know that there are the cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization, organ level of organization, and organ system level of organization. तो हमको यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट ध्यान में रखना है कि in cellular level of organization, the organism is multicellular. It is made up of many different cells. Okay. So this organism, this box, is made up of cells, and these cells are of different types. Okay. So let me show it in this manner that the cells are of different types. Okay. These cells don't come together to form tissues. So it is a multicellular organism, but it does not show formation of tissues. That is called cellular level of organization. And in tissue level of organization, the cells come together to form tissues. In organ organization, different type of tissues come together and result in the formation of an organ. And in organ system of organization, organs come together either physically or chemically and result in the formation of an organ system. So cellular level of organization is seen in poriferans. Tissue level of organization is seen in Coelenterata and Ctenophora. Organ level of organization is seen in Platyhelminthes. And above Aschelminthus up to Chordata, everybody shows the organ system level of organization. The other criteria that is commonly used is the body plan. So there are three different types of body plan. The most simplest one is the cell aggregate, जहाँ पे सिर्फ cells का एक जमाव आ जाता है, cluster of cells होता है, which is seen by porifera. The second type is the blind sac plan. In the blind sac plan, you will see that the organism shows the presence of a single opening here, a single opening. And through this single opening, it will serve as an inlet as well as an outlet. Okay. And such a sac is called as a blind sac. जब किसी पार्ट को एक सिंगल ओपनिंग होती है और वो इनलेट एंड आउटलेट दोनों के लिए, see just like this water bottle in front of me, it has got only a single opening, inlet as well as outlet. Okay, so such a sac is called as a blind sac. Then the third type, that is tube within tube body plan. Here, the organism shows the presence of an outer tube, which is the body wall, and there is an inner tube, that is the alimentary canal. और ये दो ट्यूब्स के बीच में जो स्पेस है, इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं बॉडी सीलम. And such an organization is called tube within tube body plan. And it is seen in all the higher organisms, from Aschelminthus to Chordata. Another criteria that is used for classification of animals is the germinal layers. Now, with respect to germinal layers, what are these germinal layers? Germinal layers are found in the embryonic stages of development. And it is these germinal layers that divide and differentiate and result in the formation of different types of tissues. So, we have got two different type of germinal layers over here. One, an organism can be diploblastic or it can be triploblastic. डिप्लोब्लास्टिक ऑर्गेनिजम्स वो होते हैं जिनके एम्ब्रियोनिक स्टेजेस में दो जर्माइनल लेयर्स पाए जाते हैं. वन इज आउटर एक्टोडर्म, द अदर इज इनर एंडोडर्म. Okay, and in between the outer ectoderm and inner endoderm there is a layer which is called mesoglea. अब ये mesoglea अनडिफरेंशिएटेड लेयर है और काफी बार इसको असेलुलर भी कहा जाता है. ये किसी भी टिश्यू या ऑर्गन के पार्टिसिपेशन फॉर्मेशन के पार्टिसिपेशन में हेल्प नहीं करता, इसलिए इसको हम लोग एक जर्माइनल लेयर नहीं मानते. ओके, सो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि यहाँ पे सिर्फ दो ही जर्माइनल लेयर्स हुए, एक्टोडर्म एंड एंडोडर्म, बिकॉज मीजोग्लिया इज like a ground substance. It is not going to produce any of the tissues of the body. The uh, diploblastic organization can be seen in the lower phylums. Like you can see it in Ctenophora. It is also seen in the Cnidarians. Okay. Sometimes some reference books say that Porifera also shows germinal layers. Okay. But better would be that we consider that poriferans do not show any germinal layers ka development. Okay, they as it is a cell aggregate pattern, it will not have the germinal layers. Okay, but if you are told to choose between either uh, diplo or triplo, you can choose diploblastic. The triploblastic consists of the three germinal layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. And depending upon the uh, these three germinal layers, and depending upon the arrangement of the mesoderm, we will further see what can be the different types of coelums. Now, so when it comes to the coelom, if you look at the first diagram, which is mentioned as acoelomates. Acoelomates are those in which the body cavity is absent. तो हमको देखने मिलता है यहाँ पे एक्टोडर्म है, मीसोडर्म है, एंडोडर्म है. ओके, और इनके बीच में कोई भी बॉडी कैविटी नहीं है, तो इसको हम लोग बोलते हैं acoelomates. Now, if you look at the third one, that is coelomates, where you have an ectoderm, innermost layer, that is the endoderm, and the middle mesoderm gets split into two parts. The middle mesoderm, it will get split into two parts, where you have outer mesoderm and the inner mesoderm. And between the two, there is the embryonic coelom. There is embryonic coelom. Okay. Such organisms are called as truly coelomate organisms. Whereas in acoelomates, we see that there are mesodermal pouches. ये जो दिख रहा है यहाँ पे, ये क्या है? Mesodermal pouches है. So as a result of which, the coelom is not lined by mesoderm on all the sides. Such an organism is called as pseudocoelomates. तो acoelomate में एग्जाम्पल आता है फाइलम प्लेटीहेलमिन्थस, pseudocoelomates में आता है एस्केलमिन्थस, और ट्रूली coelomates में आएंगे फ्रॉम Annelida to chordates. Then, with respect to symmetry, another criteria, there are some organisms which are asymmetrical. उनको कोई भी प्लेन में डिवाइड करिए आपको इक्वल हाउस नहीं मिलेंगे. Such organisms are called as asymmetrical organism. Most of the poriferans belongs to this category. ओके, दूसरा है सिमेट्रिकल कैटेगरी, जहां पे दो सिमेट्रीज मिलेंगी आपको, रेडियल सिमेट्री एंड बायलैटरल सिमेट्री. Radial symmetry is those organisms which you can cut into equal halves by any plane passing through the center. Okay. Bilateral symmetry, they'll only have one plane of division. So this is a bilateral. एक ही plane of division में you'll get two equal halves. So that is called bilateral symmetry. The lower organisms from coelentrates to ctenophores, okay, show radial symmetry. Whereas bilateral symmetry is seen from phylum Platyhelminthes up to chordates. यहाँ पे एक पॉइंट आपको नोट करना है एनसीईआरटी में कि एक फाइलम है एकाइनोडर्माटा, उसके जो लार्वल स्टेजेस है दे शो बायलैटरल सिमेट्री, बट द अडल्ट स्टेजेस दे शो रेडियल सिमेट्री. With respect to the segmentation, okay, there are some organisms who are called as truly segmented organisms. Okay, truly segmented organisms are those where there is external segmentation as well as internal septa. There is external segmentation as well as there is internal septa. So the segmentation is present both. The segmentation is present internally as well as externally, and this is seen in annelids. And one such segment is called as a metamer. One such segment is called as a metamer. So such organisms are called as metamerically segmented. Such organisms are called as metamerically segmented organisms. And who belongs to this category? The annelids. Then there are some organisms which show external segmentation but no internal segmentation. Like, for example, arthropods. Whereas all chordates, we show internal segmentation, where the body is divided into the cephalic cavity, the thoracic cavity, the abdominal cavity, etc. Now, एनिमल्स को क्लासिफाई करने के लिए हम उनके सिस्टम्स को भी यूज कर सकते हैं. जैसे हम उनका डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम, सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम, नर्वस सिस्टम, रिप्रोडक्टिव सिस्टम, ऐसे सिस्टम्स को भी यूज कर सकते हैं एज अ क्राइटेरिया टू क्लासिफाई देम. क्राइटेरिया मतलब वो सारे पॉइंट्स जिसके बेसिस पे आप करोगे क्लासिफिकेशन. तो यहाँ पे एनसीईआरटी में कुछ ऐसे सिस्टम्स मेंशन किए गए हैं, जैसे कि यहाँ पे आता है blood circulatory system. Okay, blood circulation can either be open type or it can be closed type, right? And we know that when the blood is not confined within blood vessels, it comes in direct contact with the body cells and organs. It's called as an open type of circulation, which is seen in arthropods, molluscans, echinodermata, and hemichordata. Okay, whereas closed type of circulation mein, the blood is always confined within blood vessels like arteries, capillaries, and the veins. Okay, so there is always going to be a middleman between the tissues and the blood, and that middleman is going to be the lymph and the interstitial fluid. Okay, interstitial fluid और lymphatic fluid के थ्रू एक्सचेंज चलते रहेगा सेल्स और ब्लड के बीच में. ये आपको एनालिडिया से कॉर्ड एंड कॉर्डेट्स में आपको ये मिलेगा क्लोज टाइप ऑफ सर्कुलेशन. फिर एक इंपॉर्टेंट क्राइटेरिया आता है नोटोकॉर्ड. ओके, सो इफ यू लुक एट एन एनिमल, ओके, ये उसका माउथ है, पीछे उसका एनस है, ऊपर मतलब ऑन द डॉर्सल साइड you will see the presence of a solid elastic rod like structure. Solid elastic rod like structure. The solid elastic rod like structure is called as a notochord. And if the notochord is present, then it is called as a chordate. If the notochord is absent, then it is called as non-chordate. Okay. So from poriferan to hemichordates, they belong to non-chordates. Now there's an interesting thing to note, and the MCQ type pattern that is asked goes like this. Chalo, where remember that you have a group called chordata. And in them, the notochord is present. But there are two possibilities now. The notochord remains as a notochord, or the notochord is replaced by a vertebral column. If the notochord gets replaced by a vertebral column, it is called chordata vertebrata. And if the notochord is not replaced by a vertebral column, it is chordate invertebrate. ओके, जिनके पास नोटोकॉर्ड है ही नहीं उनको हम लोग बोलते हैं नॉन कॉर्डेटा. एंड बाय डिफॉल्ट हमेशा दे आर गोइंग टू बी invertebrates. Okay. So always remember all non-chordates, all non-chordates will be invertebrates. But all invertebrates need not be non-chordates. Some invertebrates are chordates also. Okay. So ये एक बात ध्यान में रखेंगे हम लोग कि एक इनवर्टिब्रेट का ग्रुप ऐसा है जिसके पास वर्टिब्रल कॉलम नहीं है लेकिन नोटोकॉर्ड है, तो वो क्या बन गए? कॉर्डेट्स. लेकिन जो नॉन कॉर्डेट है उसके पास कभी भी वर्टिब्रल कॉलम नहीं होगा. देन ये कुछ क्राइटेरियाज होते हैं विच आर यूज्ड फॉर द क्लासिफिकेशन.